Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTube. Hi, everybody. I am DaynaLN Knuckles, the People's Oracle. Welcome to your full moon lunar eclipse. Oh my God, we made it to this moment. Reading. Y'all, listen. Listen, this is Divination for Liberation. And today, as always, we've got one part sermon, well, 3 parts, 12 part sermon, really. 1 part tarot reading, a whole bunch of astrology, and don't she look? Y'all, it had to go. It had to go. It had to go. I woke up yesterday. Y'all, I promise you. Matter of fact, last week, I was laying in the bed early in the morning, woke up, and I had a vision of myself clipping off my locks and shaving my head. This is my 4th big chop. And yesterday came and it was either wash and twist all that hair or it was do this. And look at her. Oh my God. I'm in love with myself. I just can't even lie. Oh my God. I'm in love with myself. This is my absolute favorite hairstyle. Those locks were definitely like, I missed all of y'all messages. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Yeah, this is my favorite hairstyle. I'm not gonna lie. I love the locks. I had those locks since 2013. It's the first Saturn square of when I put those locks in my head, and so much was in that hair. And so it had to go. It's sitting in a bag somewhere. I'm trying to read all of your comments over here. Thank y'all. Listen, you all know what time it is. It is time to pull a card. So let's see who over here on Instagram would like for me to pull a card. One person from Instagram who would like to pull a card, and over there on YouTube, who would love for me to pull a card for them? Who wants a card? No clients, first timers only. So yeah, let's see. All right, I saw Fiending Sophistication first, so this is for you, boo. This one is for you. Let's see what we got, Fiending Sophistication. We have got the Hanged Man, being in a holding pattern. This is the card of when your will is ineffectual, meaning you don't have the opportunity, you don't have the strength, you don't have the courage, it's not the right time to make a move in the external world. The Hanged Man is talking to you about the internal change, Fiending Sophistication. Thanks, Tam. This is about internal change. This is about a shift in perspective. This is about a change in how you understand and interpret what's happening inside you, outside you, around you, in your relationships. So let's see what the word is for you, Fiending Sophistication. We've got the Ace of Wands. Oh, so it's time to come up out that holding pattern, girl. Ace of Wands means it is time. Listen, you have done the work. You have been feeling stuck, like you can't execute. Whatever it is that you put your hand to doesn't seem like it's moving. It doesn't seem like it's happening. It doesn't seem like it's effectual. And so the Ace of Wands is telling you that you need to take the work that you've been doing for whatever amount of time that you've been in this holding pattern. You need to take that work, and it's time for you to put the key in the ignition, put the car in gear, put your foot on the gas and go. Say yes to the opportunities that come to you. If you have an idea or an opportunity to do something that you've wanted to do, now is the time to do it. The holding pattern is over, boo. The holding pattern is over. All right. Who we got over here on YouTube for a card? Let's see. Who should? Alini on YouTube. This is for you, Alini. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I feel so feminine. I feel so beautiful. I feel so free. I feel so light. Y'all, the shower on my head this morning, I just can't explain the tingles. It was just so amazing. I suggest that everyone who should try this once, just once. All right, Alini on YouTube. This is for you. We have the Hermit. This is the seeking. This is the searching. This is looking for answers. This is research. This is asking questions. This is looking for something but not knowing what you're looking for, but knowing that what you found thus far is not it for you. Now, I don't know if this is a relationship, a job. I don't know if this is a sense of purpose or where you want to live, or what you should study, whether or not you should go to school, whatever it may be. So let's see. We've got the King of Swords. The first thing that popped in my mind was if you have been considering, or if you are in the circumstances under which you need to do something legal, like if you need to hire an attorney, if you need to make a decision that requires legal counsel, Alina, the King of Wands is doing that. But this is also about admonishing you to make a decision that's free from all of the emotional tangles. This is about assessing the facts at hand. This is about being decisive, not being wishy-washy. So I think the vision that I'm getting right now for you, Alina, is that you have been kind of holding off on making a decision because you've been searching and seeking for options and none of them seems to be it. But I think this is telling you that there's not going to be any kind of perfect scenario where things look exactly how you want them to look, or the options are all appealing, or there's going to be some aha moment where it's like super clear to you. The King of Swords is like, look, you just need to make a decision. Like, stop waffling, stop looking, stop being like, wait, let me do a little bit more research. Wait, let me just give it a little more time. Nope, you just got to do it. Cut out the BS, cut out all of the emotional stuff, cut out all of the extra stuff that's kind of distracting you from actually making the decision, and make the decision. And since the King of Swords is here, I have a feeling that you already know what it is that you're supposed to be deciding. You already know what the correct choice is. It's just that you think that there's more information. You think that there are more options or choices for you, and they're not. So you have to choose from what it is that you have and deal with the consequences of that choice in this moment. I hope that that was helpful for y'all who I didn't pull a card for, and I hope that that was helpful for you, Alina. I don't know if I can see you over here on YouTube. It's so many comments going so fast. Oh, there you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome. All right, look. Today, I was given a word, and in order to directly deliver this word, correctly deliver this word, I had to type up whole entire notes. Let me tell you, because I've been downloading this message for y'all for the last week. Now, we all know what's going on. I'm going to talk about it in my word, but just for the record here, what is the astrology of this moment? This is a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. It is the first eclipse in a series of eclipses. And this eclipse series will last until May 2022. What is an eclipse? And I'm going to pull out something here. Let me just get my little book. Some of you all may have this from last year, the 2019 eclipse guide that was meant to kind of guide you through the last Gemini and Sagittarius eclipses, which, for the record, there are 2 more eclipses in Gemini and Sagittarius. So if you want to download this from my store, it'll still be useful for you. But there's a little table here at the bottom that's kind of telling you what eclipses are. So the parts of this table that are relevant to this moment are full moon and full moon lunar eclipse. So a normal full moon is a culmination of short stories and circumstances. It is a monthly dramatic high point, pressure valve release. So even though this is just a description for a regular full moon, you already know it's very clear that this full moon is a pressure valve release. That stuff was bubbling under the surface like hot lava, shifting tectonic plates in your life, shifting tectonic plates in the world around us. And that stuff is like jiggle, 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 boom, right? Now, full moon lunar eclipse. Oh, I love this. I love this so much because this is so, before I even talk about the signs and the planets, just describing what a full moon lunar eclipse is telling us exactly what this moment is about. Okay, let me move this camera down just a little bit. Okay. Full moon lunar eclipses like the one that occurs Friday. So this reading is for the full moon lunar eclipse that culminates Friday, June 5th. Okay, brings sudden clarity, reveals what was previously hidden or unknown, aha moment, provides information or involves circumstances that makes the new moon solar eclipse departures logical or necessary. So we won't have a new moon solar eclipse in Taurus or Scorpio until later this year. And when that time comes, I'll talk to you guys about what that is. But do you see the sudden clarity? Do you see the aha moment? Do you see the previously hidden and unknown being revealed? Do you see it? We ain't even talked about the signs yet. We haven't even talked about the signs yet, and already we see the clarity, the aha moment, right? All right. I have donned this series of eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio. So eclipses, they last for about 2 years, and these are stories of important cultural and interpersonal changes. You all know that for me, there is no out there. There is no world out there. There is no politics, no economy, no power structure out there. Everything is personal. And if there's something going on out there, if I pick up a single person's chart, I should be able to look at that single person's chart and discern what's going on out there, because this single person is not separate from what's going on out there. So I hope that you in your lives are really learning to distill downward into your personal lives the relevance of what's going on out there. So the word for this is decolonizing the survival instinct. First of all, who said the survival instinct was colonized? What is colonized? What is the survival instinct? And why do we need to decolonize it? All right, now some of y'all are so smart that I don't even need to explain it to y'all. Y'all can use your minds and your understanding of words and language and make it make sense for yourself. But because we're here and I'm here to teach you, don't worry, I'm gonna explain it all to you, okay? If you open up your 2020 Sidereal Astrology guide, or if you pull it up on your device, okay, you can go back to the month of June here, and we have all of these fill in the blanks for each of these significant events that I've listed here in the monthly spread for June. So if you go to June in the monthly spread here, you'll see that there are glyphs all over each pages. And if you come to the back here, this is listing the fill in the blanks, meaning how you apply the astrology to your personal birth chart. So the very first significant event for June is a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And the fill in the blank says, suddenly realizing what emotional autonomy looks like. And then you're supposed to go look at your tables that you filled out with your own birth chart information, find out which singular house in your birth chart has Scorpio on it, and then you fill in, those meanings, or significations here in this box, okay? So the fundamental questions of Taurus, and Taurus right now is where the Sun and Venus retrograde are, and then Scorpio where the moon is this. What is the social impact of my personal emotional reality? How does my personal emotional reality disrupt or maintain the status quo of my one-on-one relationships or communal relationships? I'm gonna read that again, okay? How does my personal emotional reality, means what I'm feeling inside of my body, not what I show you, not what I tell you, not what I communicate to you in any way. How does my personal emotional reality disrupt or maintain the status quo of my relationships, whether they're personal or communal? How does my emotional reality impact change in other people's emotional reality? I hope you all hear where I'm going with this already. How does my personal emotional reality impact change in other people's personal emotional reality? And does my emotional reality and that impact harm myself or others? Y'all listen, this is so mind-blowing to me. For the first time, Black folks' reality, meaning their perceptions and interpretation of history and present events, as well as their emotional reality, is being validated. After centuries of being emotionally gaslit on a national and global scale, we now have our emotional reality being recognized and validated for the first time. Do you hear that? I know you all have had this experience where where you find the language, you find the resonance, you find the support for the first time of something that you've been experiencing, and you no longer feel isolated or alone or like you're being gaslit, right? Even on a personal level, many of us, it seems like we have finally been granted permission to not only feel, but to name and perform, meaning to show it in our facial expression and in the actions we take. Perform feelings that have been a threat to the world around us. I just need to pause on that for a minute, right? This may be new language for you, right? Understanding that Taurus is about managing other people's reactions to us based on how we perform our designations of race, gender, and class, and sexuality, and what those designations prescribe to us about how we should perform our emotions. So we have these tropes about the angry Black woman, right? Or the subservient Asian woman. And based on that designation, right, it's defining for us, prescribing to us what emotions we're allowed to perform and express. Even Black men, right? Dangerous Black men, right? So we become funny. We become funny and we become comedians, and we sing and we laugh and we tell jokes rather than directly performing the rage we rightly feel, right? I'm going to go back for a minute. Even on a personal level, for many of us, it seems that we have finally been granted permission to not only feel, but to name and perform feelings that have been a threat to the world around us. Rage and fear and grief and sadness. These are all feelings that so many of us have been forced to repress because they have threatened our standing in our relationships and communities. Can you imagine? I know you can imagine because you've been doing it your whole life, that you are not free to feel anger and express rage because it disrupts and severs your relationships. It threatens abandonment and rejection if you were to really be authentic, right? Yet Scorpio teaches us that access to these feelings of rage, fear, grief, sadness is critical to our survival. Anger is a signal from our bodies that our physical or emotional boundaries have been crossed. It is a signal to act in some way to protect ourselves from the offending threat. But imagine that not only are you not allowed to actually feel the anger and express the anger, but even your attempts to protect yourself are demonized. And your attempts to protect yourself are an additional threat to your well-being. This is the world that Black people, trans people, queer people, women have been living in, right? Now, I did a video a couple days ago, last week, I think, and I put it up on YouTube, and it's called I Found God in My Struggle for Liberation, right? And in that video, I took a blog post called 2020 Forecast. It was an intro from a talk I did back in December 2019. And I read through it and I broke it down. And I really suggest that you all go watch that video. I'm sure the title kind of put some of you off talking about God because we have been so rejected and oppressed by religious institutions that even hearing the name of God triggers us to reject it, right? But I'm gonna talk about something about that a little bit later on in this. So here's a particular excerpt from my 2020 forecast. Shining the light of awareness on oppressors, systems of oppression, out in the world only actualizes its full liberating potential when we also expose their emotional and spiritual occupation. What is emotional and spiritual occupation, right? Now, I'm about to really drop something on y'all. So as always, I'm giving y'all the disclaimer right now. Put your seatbelts on, secure your wigs. I ain't got nothing to secure because I chopped all that stuff off. But if you got a wig, press down them edges, pull it forward and secure it tight. Put your glasses on, lock yourself to your seat, hold on to the sides if you have to. Okay? I hope you're ready. Our individual nervous systems, I'm talking about the sympathetic nervous system that is activated when we are in danger and we feel a threat. And it communicates with all of the organ systems of our body and says, wait, hold on, something's happening here, you might need to run. Or wait, hold on, something's happening here, you might need to go hide in the corner. Or wait, hold on, something's happening here, you might need to fight. Where's your knife, girl? Right? So our nervous systems have been programmed to maintain systems of oppression. Look at how white fear is weaponized against Black life. Now, fear, again, is a signal that your boundaries have been crossed or you're in danger, right? And so when that fear, that white fear is weaponized, it becomes a threat to Black people. And look at how legitimate Black rage is weaponized against the identity of whiteness. And then we get this negative feedback loop where my legitimate fear for my survival and safety is a threat to white people, and it instigates fear in them. And the feedback loop goes on and on. I'm not talking about intellectual fear. I'm talking about the literal fear of, if a police comes up behind me while I'm driving, my heart go boom, 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 because my body knows that is a threat, danger, danger, red alert. You understand? Okay. Now, what else is emotional in spiritual occupation? Identity. Systems of oppression tell you who you are, tell you how you should feel. If you are white, insert. If you are Black, insert. If you are Mexican, insert. If you are queer, if you are straight, if you are poor, if you are gay, if you are asexual, whatever it may be, that these identities are occupied. And that if we cannot see ourselves and determine who we are, separate from the designations that are assigned to us by systems of oppression, we ain't gonna never be free, right? And finally, belief systems are occupied. Our religions are occupied. Our myths are occupied. Evidence, I can't even say God, which y'all like, right? You can't even conceptualize the idea that there is something bigger, something beyond your understanding, because your capacity to even dream in that way has been occupied. Okay? Now, the name of this reading today is not peace, but a sword. And you saw the words that I took from the Bible that are attributed to Jesus on the screen on YouTube before I started this video. And it says here, do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Okay, and from here on, I've took some liberties to paraphrase, really just to take one word out and add another. Okay? For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemy will be those of his own household. Y'all don't know who I'm talking to yet, but I'm about to let you know. He who loves father or mother more than liberation, more than freedom, is not worthy of freedom. And he who loves son or daughter more than liberation is not worthy of liberation, not worthy of freedom. And he who does not take his cross, take up his suffering, and follow after freedom is not worthy of liberation. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for the sake of freedom will find it. Peace is the status quo. It's the norms of gender, race, class, and sexuality, and this sword. This is the sword of truth. Now, many times I've said that how we interpret the intentions of others, events in the world, and our lives, and even our own individual subjective emotional reality is more about preserving an identity than it is about truth. But truth is inherently disruptive. It forces us to break through normative myths of identity that white is this, Black is this, gay is this, straight is this. Truth sets a standard for understanding rooted in self-determination rather than propping up the self-proclaimed identities of those who hoard power. If you look in the 2020 Sidereal Astrology Guide at the Sidereal Zodiac Signs table, you'll see that the Taurus key phrase is preserves relationship. Now, if I'm understanding these words attributed to Jesus correctly, they're saying that you cannot desire to preserve relationship more than you desire liberation. You cannot desire and love the bonds that maintain oppressive identities more than you love liberation and freedom. You cannot hold on to the emotional expectations that are given to you based on your race, gender, class, sexuality, if you want to be free. I have not come to bring peace. I didn't come. God didn't come. This revelation that we read as coming in the form of Jesus did not come to bring peace. It did not come to maintain the norms of class. It did not come to maintain the norms of race. It did not come to maintain the norms of sexuality and gender. It came with a sword. We know what swords are. Swords are for fighting. Right? The purpose of God, the purpose of divinity or whatever religious, whatever, and I'm going to speak specifically to the revelation of God in the form of the story of Jesus Christ. And I don't even want to say Christ because that's a whole extra thing I ain't even really ready to go in. So Jesus of Nazareth, we'll call it that, okay? It is not a call to legalistic morality as a means to salvation. Instead, it is a moral obligation to be an instrument of liberation for all oppressed peoples. There is no salvation or deliverance other than that which dismantles systems of oppression. Now listen, I know y'all been taught that heaven is out there and over there, and if you just don't have sex, and if you don't be gay, and maybe if you don't be too black, then you might make it to heaven. If you serve your master and say, yes, sir, and if you respect your mother and your father, then maybe you'll make it to this so-called heaven. But there is no salvation or deliverance other than disrupting, overturning systems of oppression right here, right now. Now, if you're waiting for some other kind of deliverance, then you can go on somewhere else and do that, because I'm living in hell and I'm ready to bring heaven here, which means that we don't need peace. We need a sword. And look at the power of the truth at this moment. Okay? Mars is keeping time right now. Mars severs, disrupts, protects, defends, destroys, and discomforts. When Mars is keeping time, we don't pray for peace. We pray for protection from the enemy. We pray for courage to confront the truth. And we pray for direction and strategy to defeat the enemy. So I don't want to hear no love and light. I don't want to see any calls and wishes for peace. It's too late for that. Peace is norms. Peace is the oppressive environment that we've been living in. I don't want no peace. I want disruption. I want discomfort. And yeah, that means that some nights I'm laying in my bed shaking because I'm tired of hearing the sirens run up and down the street. And I'm tired of rolling down Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and seeing images of protesters being tear gassed and made blind and shot with rubber bullets and pushed and violence and killed. I don't want to see all of that. It's triggering me. But guess what? I have to love liberation more than my own comfort. You have to love freedom more than whatever peace you think you're getting by being calm. Right? Let yourself be transformed by this moment. Feel that anger. Look at how the anger is breaking us out of oppressive molds that have been cinching the life out of us. Now, I got one more word for y'all. I've got one more word for y'all, and then I'm going to pull these cards. But I got to get this out. And shouts out to Destiny, the Dalai Lama on Twitter. She posted this scripture a few days ago, and it reminded me of a tweet thread I did like 2 years ago where I quoted this scripture, and I was like, I'm going to come back to it. But I'm coming back to it 2 years later. That's all right. I got the word today. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood and principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I'm gonna say that one more time. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We not boxing. This is not about, can I kill someone who's oppressing me? Can I choke them out? It's not about that. It's against principalities. It's about what has possessed your mind and your identity, what has colonized your survival instinct. This is against power structures, systems of power, and against rulers of the darkness of this world. Now, I described elsewhere that sin is anything that convinces me that you and me are separate. This is a possession of the mind. And in this time and this place, in this moment in history, the identity of whiteness has been this darkness. It has implanted in our minds individualistic belief system politics. It has colonized our religious myths and co-opted them for their own means to divide us, to convince you that my wealth has nothing to do with your poverty, that my power has nothing to do with your lack of agency, that my good school has nothing to do with your crappy school, that my safe neighborhood has nothing to do with your unsafe neighborhood, that my full belly has nothing to do with your hunger, that my good health care has nothing to do with your lack of access. The good news, as the gospel is so often called, is that you don't need to keep your head down anymore and take it. The good news is you don't have to be silent anymore and wait for progress. The good news, liberation is here, my friends. I hope you all can see the way that this moment is different than any other moment, and it is because the sacrifices and the battles that have been fought by our ancestors, going all the way back to the very first Africans who were kidnapped and brought here and had liberation and rebellion on their mind. That thread carries all the way through to the present moment, and through so many slave rebellions, through so many abolitionist movements, through so many Black liberation movements. We are here now, and the progress that has been made from those points is why we are afforded the blessing of the solidarity that you are witnessing all over the world. All over the world. You hear that? You hear that? Woo! Well, it's time to draw some cards. I probably need to take a sip of water or something. I've been holding that sermon in for days, and it took everything in me not to get live and talking about it, but it's here now. It's here now. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something, and I said this on my Instagram live a couple days ago. If you are waiting for the eclipse to occur on June 5th, you missed it already. You missed it. It's now. It's been happening. Moon entered Leo, the fixed sign axis, which is about survival, entered Leo last Thursday, and boom, go boom. We haven't even made it to the actual event of the eclipse, and it's happening already. I hope you all are broadening your understanding of time and broadening your understanding of astrological moments. I know you all are typing away, and I just can't keep up, but I'm trying to move this along today so that I'll have time to really engage with you guys before this is over. So I'm just going to draw 3 cards. I'm going to cut the deck, and this is just our final word, for this full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And in case you didn't know, there are 2 more eclipses this summer. One is on June 21st. It is a new moon solar eclipse in Gemini. And then the other one is on July 5th. It is a full moon lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Okay? All right. So let's see what these cards say. So this card is our context. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it already. This is the star. This is the star. Oh, man. Star is about a vision. I feel like this is really articulating Mars, which is currently in Aquarius. Mars rules this eclipse. Remember, I just said that Mars is keeping time right now. That's why there's so much discomfort and there's so much severance, and there's so much breaking apart of households even around liberation, right? The star Aquarius is about imagination. And there's been a lot of tweets and calls and words given and revelations received around how important it is. How important it is to, my, hold on everybody. They must have turned off the air conditioning in here because it's not on and my camera just went off. So I know you all can still hear me on YouTube, but you cannot see me. So please give me a minute to go figure out what's going on with the air conditioning in my house because my camera has overheated. It's too hot in here. So I'll be right back. Instagram people, I will be right back. Please be patient with me. Okay, YouTube, I think I'm just gonna have to put my other camera up. So you'll have to give me a minute here to set up my other camera. And I am setting it up. It'll just take me a few seconds. Hold on, it's coming. Give me just a minute. These are the kind of Mercury retrograde things that happens, but your girl is prepared and she's got alternatives here. So let me just see. All right, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Can you all still hear me? Yes, you all can still hear me. Okay, all right. So there have been a lot of calls and revelations. Why is that so small? Oh, okay, I see. Hold on. Hold on, I'm fixing it. Okay, that's just gonna have to do for now. There have been a lot of revelations around the importance of imagination in the liberation movement, right? That if you cannot even imagine a present and a future free from police, free from capitalism, free from these oppressive systems and power structures, free from the inner workings and mechanics of oppression, if you cannot imagine a present and a future free from those things, you're never going to be liberated. This is why we must decolonize the survival instinct, because your colonized survival instinct has even co-opted your imagination, and the future that you envision still is upholding oppressive norms and systems of power. So this star is talking about even decolonizing your imagination, even stripping away the barriers to envision a truly free future. How are you doing that in your own life? How are your even personal ambitions being decolonized? Can you envision an ambition that is free from oppressiveness? Can you envision a future in abundance, a prosperity that does not require the slave labor of people in other countries and here? Can you envision a future? Can you do that? This is what the star is teaching us. So let's see what the rest of these cards say. We've got the Devil. I think I might have just given it away. Sometimes that happens, y'all. We've got the Six of Cups. And we've got the Two of Cups. Now, we've seen the Devil a lot of times. And for those of you who are asking, this is the Golden Thread Tarot. And this is killing me. Hold on. The lighting on this camera got me looking like a pasty masty. And that's whack. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can fix it. That's better already. We're going to leave it just like that. Okay. We've seen the Devil before. The Devil is Saturn. And Saturn is reality, particularly Capricorn, which the Devil is really talking to us about, is material reality. Now, this is really important to understand as an astrological concept, that material reality, Earth as an element, which is the realm of Capricorn, does not have language. So it is not relying on a description to discern what something is. It does not rely on language. Now, I've taught you before that language is the way that humans think about and conceptualize reality, and that language emerges in a specific historical and cultural and political context, and that the very first thing that they strip from a people who are being colonized is their language. Because when you take their language, you take their myths, you take their God, you take their spirituality, and you take their source of power, right? But God is bigger than that. So we know we can always find ways to reconnect. But material reality does not have language. If you can imagine, the only way that you can discern what something is by being right in it, by feeling it, by touching it, by listening, by smelling, by tasting it. And I feel like this is this moment, right? That at this moment, we are seeing the solidarity that exists. We are seeing this massive worldwide global movement that I've called critical mass. And you can hear on the news now, you can hear in media, the analysis is using the phrase tipping point, but you know it's the same thing, right? That we are at this moment because Saturn entered Capricorn, and this reality that we're all experiencing, there is not one twist of phrase, clever organization of words that can deny you the reality of being house insecure, being food insecure, being job insecure, being hungry, feeling the threat of COVID. Ain't no words that can keep you from that, because you cannot deny the death of those around you. And if you've gotten sick, you can't deny the experiential reality of your own suffering. The devil is not bad. Saturn is not bad. This isn't wrong. This isn't scary, right? Right? This isn't bad. This isn't scary. See, if you think that you are going to use language to override the experiential reality of your physical body, you can do that to an extent, but eventually the reality of your circumstances, they are not, you can't be protected from it by language. You can't call it the flu and think that that is going to change the reality of people's experiences. You understand what I'm saying? So this is not very intuitive. It's not very logical in the sense that you would connect these two things this way. But the fact is that we are able to reconnect to our imaginative capacity to envision a future free from the oppressive power structures that have colonized our minds, our spirits, our culture, our spirituality. We are able to reconnect to that because we are having a face-to-face, unmitigated, untempered encounter with reality. This is the sword of truth. The sword of truth is not are not words. The sword of truth is not a manifesto. The sword of truth is not a religious doctrine. The sword of truth is not what I tell you with my mouth. The sword of truth is what you feel and experience in your body. It is the capacity to connect and to feel and to unrepress, to liberate your emotional reality and feel the fear, feel the anger, feel the rage, feel the sadness. And look at how it spreads like wildfire. That when you are at your most emotionally authentic because you have dared to encounter reality, you realize that you are not alone. That's where solidarity comes from. 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups. Now these 2 cups go together. 6 of Cups and 2 of Cups. These 2 cups. The 6 of Cups is reconnecting to the past. But I really feel like in this context, this is really about intimacy and connection. This is about belonging. This is about sharing something. This is about coming together. Now we can use the reconnecting to the past in the sense of Sankofa, right? The image of the bird whose body is facing forward, but the head is pointed backwards, that you cannot know where you're going unless you know where you've been, right? So in this, I'm hearing that this is an opportunity for us to even reinterpret the past based on our present unmitigated encounter with the truth, our present unmitigated encounter with reality. What is the reality that you are facing, that you are encountering? How has language concealed your ability to perceive this truth? And how has this moment, this encounter, revealed the truth to you? And what does that mean for what happened to you then? What does that mean for your past? What does that mean for the familiar to you? How are you reinterpreting the familiar? Is it as comfortable as you thought it was? Is it as safe as you thought it was? Familiar don't mean safe, and familiar don't mean good. Familiar can be toxic. Familiar can be dangerous. How is your encounter with reality in this moment affording you the opportunity to reinterpret your past? And though you cannot go back and be in it and re-experience it and encounter truth in that moment, you can take the truth that you are being enlightened to and aware of in this moment and reinterpret that past. That changes your whole story. That changes your whole interpretation of your life and who you thought you were. Now here's the 2 of Cups. This card is very, very, very important. Now I know you guys are so used to everything being about relationships and love and romance, but you should look around and really see that most of us are yearning for those things and we don't have access to it. We don't have access to a safe love. We don't have access to a nurturing love. We don't have access to a fair love. We don't have access to a love that is not colonized by the very oppressive systems that keep us out of work and uneducated and poor and hungry. It's colonized our interpersonal relationships. It's colonized our love. It's colonized our interpretation and sense of family, right? It's colonized all of those things. So don't look at this card and think of that. I want you to look at this card and really see what's happening. This is the card of how does my emotional reality impact your emotional reality? If I come into your home and I start yelling and screaming and stomping angry, are you really going to sit there and continue to read the Sunday paper as if I had not arrived? And even if you perform the calm, is your heart really beating at the same pace as it was before I entered? Right? Don't think that just because someone is not performing a particular emotion that it does not exist. Right? I think that this is calling us to be affected, to be moved, to allow the rage of the oppressed to make us uncomfortable, to spur us into action, to liberate us from our own repressed anger, to inspire us to decolonize our nervous systems. You decolonize your nervous system in solidarity. You decolonize your nervous system when you feel the feelings that you've been avoided feeling. You decolonize your nervous system when you stop avoiding the perceived consequences of those feelings and you feel them anyway. Look what has happened. Look what has happened. Rage has been bubbling beneath the surface for centuries. Fear, legitimate fear, has been percolating through our nervous system for so long. But now, Minneapolis stood up and they said, no longer am I suppressing the fear. No longer am I suppressing the rage. The whole entire world stood up. Because when you tell the truth, when you allow yourself to encounter the truth, the reality, and you act in accordance with that truth, you will find that you are not alone in this moment, in this time. That may not have been true then. It may not have been true in the past. It may not have been true before last week, but it's true today. It's the actual factual today, right? That's all I got for y'all. I've said so much. I've given so much. It felt good. I loved it. I want to just read what, I just want to go back and read this last thing from my notes that I repeated at the end. Mars is keeping time right now. Every planet has its moment. Maybe it's Jupiter, maybe it's Venus, but Mars is keeping time right now. We've got a Mars retrograde in Aries coming up later this year. We've got this series of eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio being the other Mars-ruled sign. These eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio are picking back up where Jupiter left off. Jupiter was in Scorpio from the fall of 2018 until November 2019. And Jupiter in Scorpio was picking back up from where Saturn in Scorpio was from the fall of 2014 until the fall of 2017. And Saturn in Scorpio was picking back up off of where there were eclipses in Scorpio and Taurus from 2011, right, until 2014, I believe, right? So this is a long story, and I could probably go back further than that. When Mars is keeping time, it severs, it disrupts, it protects, it defends, it destroys. Why hold on to someone or something that does not allow you to feel the range of your emotions that are required to protect yourself and preserve your life? Just let go, let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Everything's gonna work out right, you know. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead, Tony. I did my best, Tony. I didn't have the little water trip, like the little, I didn't have the water thing that, you know, whatever was talking about. Anyways, I am going to end the stream on YouTube. YouTube, please like this video. Like. It's only 8 likes on there. Like this video, share this video, like this video, share this video. You gotta decolonize the algorithm. Seriously though, you gotta decolonize the algorithm. Decolonize the algorithm. Hit them likes, hit the subscribe button, share it with your mama, share it with your daddy, share it with your sister, share it with your ex. You know he needs to hear this. You know they need to hear this. Don't hold back. All right? I'm gonna end this YouTube and I'm going to talk to y'all on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll probably see you before the new moon in Gemini, but if I don't see you before then, remember to join me for the new moon reading in a couple of weeks. I'll be sure to make an event here on YouTube and share it with you, post a graphic and all of that stuff so that you all can join me and we can reconvene and catch up on, where is it? Catch up on this story. Where is it? Hold on. We got to catch up on this story. All right? Take care, y'all.